right. So today we're going to talk about my favorite supports to play with as a decade-long Master Speaker Ezreal player. So we're going to start right here. And this is just kind of over the years. I'm trying to keep in mind when each of these supports were at their best and at their worst. All right, so let's get to it. Ashe support fucking sucks. Hate it. There's just barely any CC. It gets outscaled by level 3. And even when it's at its best, where you can spam arrows almost like 60 seconds, it's still not very good. Most Ashe supports you get are not very good. Very weak to all-in also. And Ezreal can't peel for someone who's getting their ass destroyed. So, don't like Ashe support. It sucks. Amumu, probably put him in the category just because the double Q change really helped him a lot in terms of engaging on someone. So even if he misses the first one, he can land the second one. The problem with the Mumu, I feel like if they get poked out really early, it's hard to make a comeback in that lane. He's not bad against people like Ashe, Jinx, Varus with Ezreal the combo, but against let's say Morgana or something, he becomes so worthless, or even Alistar or something like that. So I don't really. He's an okay pick, it's just not my favorite. Alistar. I think I'm gonna put Alistar in the love it category. I really like Alistar. I think his cooldowns as the game go on get really short. There's a lot of good disengage, a lot of good gank assist. His ult makes it so that he can just walk away from people. And in lane, it's kind of rough sometimes, but I guess I'm slightly biased because if you see an Alistar in your game, they're likely a main. Likely the people who play Alistar main Alistar. That's just how it works. So most Alistars I play with are pretty fucking amazing. So I'm going to put in a little bit there. Annie. I don't like Annie support. I think it kind of sucks. It's kind of like blow all your cooldowns or blow a stun and then you just WR into them. But Annie doesn't really help Ezreal very much. And Ezreal can't really help Annie very much. It's very awkward lane. So I'm not a big fan of that. The E change actually on Ezreal is not bad, but it's very easy to miscommunicate that kind of stuff, especially with Ezreal E. So you're not going to sit there and take that much damage thinking you're going to get a molten shield. You're just going to E away. It might be better with communication, but in solo queue standards, it's not very good. I like Bard support. I think Bard support's really fucking good. I think it's kind of the same as Alistar, where if they're picking Bard, chances are they main Bard. There's a lot of good shit you can do with Bard Ezreal. You can escape ganks really easily after you E. If you land a Bard ult, you can easily follow up with Q ult. Same with Bard. Bard's damage is surprisingly high. The things I don't like about Bard, though, is he kind of... When he has to roam, you have to play super safe. It's kind of annoying, but it's not that bad. Especially since you're Ezreal and you can last hit from very, very far away. So, it's not that bad. So I kind of like it. Blitzcrank. I think I'm going to put Blitzcrank in the like it as well. I think Blitzcrank is a very feast or famine type champion, especially with Ezreal. Ezreal kind of needs to, I don't want to say win early game, but he needs to survive early game and do decent. And Blitzcrank either feeds him, spoon feeds Ezreal, or he's completely useless under tower taking a bunch of poke. So you can either carry the game in 10 minutes with Blitzcrank or you lose in 10 minutes with Blitzcrank. He's not bad, but there's better supports with Blitzcrank. Brand. I don't know how I feel about Brand, to be honest. I kind of... It's in between these two. I'm gonna put him in the category just because I don't really care for brands because they just kind of accidentally W the wave and they push by accident. He's good at pushing when you win a 2v2 against the enemy bot laner, but Besides that, his stun is very unreliable, so you can't really use your WQ to follow up on that. It's kind of like the same with Ashe. They don't really help each other. It's just Bran has a lot more damage and a stun on a shorter cooldown that's slightly less reliable than Ashe. The reason why I kind of like him better than Annie is the range difference too. Annie's just so short range, and Ezreal and Bran can kind of combo from far away. So I'll definitely put Bran in the category. Braum, I fucking love Braum. Braum support is amazing to play with. Absolutely amazing. I love Braum support. You proc his Q extremely fast. One of the fastest Q proccers ever. Just like behind Lucian, maybe Ashe, probably not Ashe. Insane damage. You can use all of your cooldowns right after he uses his. You cannot miss. Amazing lane. Amazing lane. Kill potential is there. Peel is there. Can help you defend against. He's just so good. I might put him in there. Not many people play Braum, but I wish they fucking did. So Galio support isn't as popular as it used to be. I mean, you can still maybe see it, but I'm gonna put him in the category, mainly because his all-in is insanely strong, so strong. If you hit level 2 with Ezreal Galio, you can definitely kill someone very, very quickly, even post-patch. The problem is, I think, as the game scales, he doesn't do as much. He's very easy to fall behind on. His roams are not great with Galio. Level 6 isn't great in lane especially. He's good at dragon fights, though, and he can push the lane with you, which is kind of nice, but everything else he's kind of lacking in, I'd say. This is kind of a novelty. Gragas support used to be a lot more popular back in the day. When it was good, it was pretty okay, but when it's bad, it's not great. The Gragas player needs to know what he's doing. I don't really like to see Gragas support on my team because if the player is kind of an idiot, then you can't really do much, to be honest. Gragas kind of capitalizes on the enemy mistakes rather than create more of his own like plays, especially in lane, because there's so many things to block the lane from, I guess. Following up with Ezreal ultimate and WE and stuff like that is kind of hard. With his ultimate, there's a lot of potential miscommunication. Kind of not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad, but it's just not my favorite. So I put him in the category. Janna. See, if you asked me this in Season 2 and 3 and 4, I would love this champion in my lane. It would be my personal favorites for sure. But as the game progressed and got a fuck ton more damage and players got better and there's like a level 2 power spike that people abuse and stuff, like it wasn't that apparent back in the day. Janna, she's amazing. She's super heavy disengaged, can peel forever. But the thing is, Janna Ezreal kind of turns it into a farm lane, and it like because they're so good at disengaging. So you might not get ganked anymore with Janna, which is very, very nice. But you can't really kill the enemy team that much with Janna either, unless they're a melee that gets outplayed by the Janna player. But this Janna Ezreal scales pretty fucking well into the game. I really like the combo, I think, to be honest. But it just definitely lost something over the years, for sure. So, Karma, I know everyone loves Karma Ezreal. I'm just going to put it there. It's so good. You can poke, you can heal, you can disengage. Your W allows you to all-in someone. Karma is fucking amazing as support. Karma Ezreal is insane. I honestly put Karma Ezreal on par, even on par or slightly below like Lucian Nami when it's at its best. It's so good. Leona. Love Leona support. I think it's extremely strong. It helps that for the longest time, Leona can 1v1 the enemy ADC anyway. So all you had to do was land like W alt on Leona's cooldowns, and she could probably kill the ADC from there. Really good support, or really good roaming potential. Not very good at pushing the lane. Kind of takes a little bit there, but it's pretty good. Aids and tower dives. Yeah, not much else to say about Leona. She's pretty straightforward, but so much damage. Lulu. It's either in between personal favorites or love it. I'm gonna do love it just because personal favorites is like a special spot for me that I just get so giddy when I see someone pick those champions. And love it is, oh, awesome, I get to see that champion on my team. That's cool. Lulu is definitely one of those champions. I feel like she's just kind of broken in general. Like, her kit is insanely strong no matter who it's on. Like, Lulu's probably better with a lot of the hyper carries, but Ezreal can still make a lot of use with Lulu. Level 2, she can kind of help with an all-in. Her polymorph is insane as the game goes on. Like, polymorph can literally help Ezreal land so many things in lane. The alt can save Ezreal for just that extra second longer to get the E back up, especially late game. Lulu kind of helps Ezreal not fall off super hard into the game. So, kind of like her there. Lux. Kind of like Lux. A lot of follow-up damage with Ezreal, but she gets caught really easily. And jungle ganks, like, she's decent, but if the jungler ganks at really inopportune times, Lux is like a sitting duck. Lux doesn't really help with getting tower dove. She kind of just dies with you. She turns into a mage later on in the game. She doesn't really help Ezreal that much past the laning phase, so I'm going to put it down here, actually. Maokai. See, there's two different types of Maokais back in the, like, Maokai support had two different, like, not stereotypes. Two different variations of how he can support you. He can support you with his AP build, or he can support you like a normal tank. I don't like his AP build that much unless it was super overtuned. It doesn't really do much for you. It's kind of like Shaco, where it's okay, like, just don't walk into a bush. His tank variation, I love it. I think his tank variation, if it ever picks up speed, Ezreal Maokai is going to be really, really good. Because he used to do a lot of damage back then, especially with his Q. And his old alt especially. But as it stands right now, I think he's just kind of a like it type of pick. Yeah, that's about it. MF is garbage. MF support is horrible. Excuse me. Yeah, MF support's horrible. I think it's just like Ashe, except no CC and slightly more damage. It's not good. It falls off so hard. There's nothing you can do in lane. I mean, in lane you can bully people, but, like, if they're smart and they just kind of wait and take his minimal harass and they all in her, you can't do anything about it. I mean, she's decent against, like, I don't know. I don't like it. I think it's really, really bad. I think it's not good against ganks. It has one thing it's good for, and that's ultimate and E poke in lane. But the E poke, again, like it said, super irrelevant later. So, not a big fan of the support, especially if there's no Leandries in the game. Morgana. I actually really like Morgana support. I think it's a lot better than Lux. I think it's basically just Lux, but Morgana actually helps you. That's the biggest difference. Like, it's harder to play Morgana support than Lux support, but at the same time, like, it's so much more rewarding. If the Morgana player is good, give me the Morgana player. Like, the Black Shield lasts so long, you can literally use your whole kit into it. So, not Black Shield, excuse me. Her snare lasts so long, you can literally throw out all your abilities and you'll make it in time. Amazing support. Love the character. Nami. I actually think Nami is probably my favorite over Karma and Braum. Nami is literally everything you want as an Ezreal player. It has decent disengage, amazing sustain, and honestly, Nami's all-in with Ezreal level 2 is, like, people might think I'm crazy, but it's just as scary as a Lucian level 2 Nami. It's so unbelievably scary. The burst is unreal. As long as you land your E as Ezreal with Nami E, you should be able to 2v2 any comp at the time. or any comp you're laning against. Love this character. She just ults, you bubble, you throw in everything into it, and it's just so good. This character is amazing. This character is so good. She stalls every time she gets all in. She can stall with a lot of her abilities. She can EU. She helps you get back to lane faster. She's so good. Such a good character to play with Ezreal. Nautilus support. I'm going to put Nautilus support as a personal favorite as well. Maybe before Braum, before Ezreal, before Karma. Nautilus's all-in is absolutely insane. His ultimate, you can time it with your ultimate. So free, and he does a lot of damage on his own. The snares help with a lot of the assassin picks and a lot of other characters as well. I think Nautilus is a really, really good support for Ezreal. It's one of my personal favorites. Really enjoy playing it. I get really happy when people play that with me. This is kind of a niche pick. Poppy, honestly, Poppy support isn't that good, honestly. Like, some people play it here or there. It's not great. It's good against a lot of the mobility characters, but you kind of have to be a good Poppy support to play it. Her ult is pretty decent, but it doesn't really help Ezreal get kills. It's like a ghetto Janna tornado, to be honest. She does a lot of damage, and she might be decent into melee matchups, such as like Nautilus or something with Ezreal, but she's a good counter pick into Alistar. But you're already Ezreal, so you don't really need this counter pick. I mean, I don't want to say I hate it, but because I like Poppy a lot as a character, but yeah, it's definitely not the best combination or my favorite at all. Pyke. I mean, I might get shit for this, but I'm gonna put in the category because if Pyke can land his hook, it's really good for you, obviously. But Pyke gets poked out so hard, and Ezreal doesn't really. If you guys don't hit the level 2 power spike, Ezreal doesn't really have the forward pressure, especially if they have a comp that goes in hard to push the wave for level 2 first, you automatically lose lane as Pyke Ezreal. It's because Ezreal can't move forward by himself as level 1 against 2 level 2s. He can't move forward. He kind of needs the early push for Ezreal Pyke to be good, and it kind of sucks because if you're leashing, then you're not going to get like the early level 2, and if they have a stronger pusher in comp like Ashe Senna or something like that. So I mean, it's good for all-inning someone, but Pyke doesn't really help Ezreal that much, to be honest. Let's be real. So I'm gonna pass on that. Rakan, I kind of hate it. Like, don't get me wrong, I really like Rakan. I think it's better than these three. But the Ezreal Rakan lane is some of the most awkward laning you can ever experience bot lane. It's just, it's like your damage doesn't happen at the same time. It's super delayed. Rakan is kind of squishy, but he's not. It's just, Rakan Ezreal kind of sucks because most Rakans will engage behind the tower or like behind the minions, because that's kind of like the best way to engage in Rakan sometimes. So you can't really just all in them with minions in the way. And he doesn't do enough damage to push, really. His roaming is pretty good, so if you like a roaming support and you play Ezreal, that's perfectly fine. But I personally don't like Rakan that much. I think he doesn't contribute enough damage to help Ezreal. So I'm gonna put that, and I hate it. Rel. Honestly, kind of the same thing as Rakan. Yeah, I'll put it in the bottom of no, behind or after Poppy. Actually, after Rel too, or Gragas. Rel's kind of the same thing as Rakan, but I think he's better. Or she's better at it. I think the stun is extremely useful. Still not my favorite. I don't think it's amazing, but I don't complain if I get a Rel on my team. Sona. I love Sona. Sona Ezreal is extremely good. especially back in the day, because Sona Ezreal back in the day, if they were both level 6 and you're 5, they could definitely just throw both their ults and kill you. Sona gives Ezreal like the confidence to move up in lane and start harassing them more, because Sona will just sustain you, and the Q synergies with each other are crazy good. The ult all in is good. Kind of weak. Like Ezreal Sona has no priority at all until like level 4 at least, maybe if you play it right. But yeah, levels 1 through 3 kind of suck for Ezreal Sona, but Ezreal Sona only gets better as the game goes on, so I do like the combo a lot. I'll put this right here. Senna Ezreal, I like it. The only big problem with Senna is that her W is not guaranteed, but it's like basically 2 ADCs in lane. A lot of good sustain, a lot of good damage, honestly. So Senna Ezreal is pretty good for the reason that Ezreal's damage can kind of feel weak at some points, and Senna will pick up the pace. So it's a lot of damage combo, but I think Senna and Ezreal both need to play it right depending on who they're up against, because Senna is she's kind of squishy depending on what you're up against. So all-in lanes can kind of give them trouble, but if you know how to space yourself between your team and their team, or their laners and your laners, Senna Ezreal shouldn't lose lane very much to all laners, especially if you can dodge like the Leone, then you just win. So yeah, it's a pretty good lane. Her ultimates is really good to help out, and you can help out with Ezreal's ultimate too, so you can kind of help when you're not near the fight, which is kind of nice. So decent. Seraphine support is similar to Sona, but the problem is, like, a lot of the times Seraphine support will push the lane when you don't really want them to, because of the double Q thing or the double E thing. The E is really slow, so it's not as guaranteed as like a Sona ultimate. Her ult's really good, just like Sona's. I just kind of like Sona better, to be honest, especially if the Sona knows how to use her passive the correct way. Yeah, I guess I haven't had good luck with Seraphines, but she's still a pretty good champion otherwise. Hate Shaco support. It kind of sucks. It's pretty useless for you. It doesn't do anything. Shaco support is very niche, and the Shaco, it just really depends. It's good at warding, similar to like Maokai. Like the boxes will help you keep you safe while it roams, but it's very hard for Ezreal Shaco to get any type of advantage. There's almost no way. Yeah, so I don't like it. Honestly, I advise against Ezreal Shaco. You might be able to play Shaco Jhin. Shaco Jin's pretty good, but Shaco Ezreal is kind of trash. So put that there. Soraka is absolutely one of my personal favorite supports to get as Ezreal. There's so much damage. She harasses like crazy. She heals you through almost any type of harass you might take. And she can help. The silence is just so clutch. So clutch. She does a lot of her own damage. She's just so good. She's so good. I honestly, even against all-ins, she's not that bad. She can interrupt a lot of like the combos that you might get all-in by, like Lucian Nami. You can silence the Lucian ult, or it's just so good. It's so good. She can stall long enough for you to do a lot of damage. So I really like her. She scales well. You scale well with her. It's an amazing combo. Love it. Shen is kind of unorthodox. I'm not the biggest fan of Shen support. I'm going to put that like right there. Not the biggest fan of Shen support. It does a lot of all-in damage, but his ult is kind of useless in 2v2s because you're kind of standing there like an idiot while you channel your ult. It's not like ideal, but it's not the worst pick in the world. It can do pretty good past the laning phase, and it does pretty decent during dragon fights, but it just doesn't really make much sense because if he ults away, you're kind of sitting there to defend for yourself. But like he doesn't like support he doesn't do enough damage to just alt top when they're like level 9 and you're 6. You know what I mean? So I don't like the pick that much, but it's not completely horrible. So Veigar, I don't know. I really don't know about this one. I kind of like it, but at the same time, it can be an I'm going to put it at the bottom of like it because it scales really well. The E is OP as fuck. You can get a lot of trade kills with Ezreal Veigar. Like, almost guarantee that if you 2v2, I guarantee you at least one of them will die every single time. So that's kind of nice. But pretty weak to all-in. I feel like he doesn't do very well in dragon fights and stuff, too, because he's really easy to pick off from the back. But he's not bad. He's not bad. Vel'Koz. I actually like Vel'Koz. I think Vel'Koz support's pretty damn good. Lots and lots and lots of damage. I'm going to put him below center, actually. Like that. Lots and lots of damage, but that's all he can do. But it's just so much damage that you're fine. Especially if they know how to... the slow helps you line up a lot of the stuff, too. He can kind of defend himself in all ends. And if you escape, the thing is, low, like... If you and the Vel'Koz somehow peel back and kite back, Vel'Koz ult, and that's almost a double or at least one kill. So if you can survive and kite back with this character, you should be able to win the lane. But like it's really bad against dives. That's the big thing. Ezreal Vel'Koz does nothing for you in dives. There's nothing you can do when you get dove as this combo. Nobody has any reliable CC. The damage doesn't happen when it needs to. It kind of takes its time, or takes a little bit of a wind up for it to happen. So that's kind of the biggest weakness. It is a big weakness, but it's one of the only weaknesses. And he can't sustain, but that's not that bad. I hate Yumi. Hate this character. Hate everything about her. Hate everything she stands for. Just don't like playing with it. It's so useless most of the time. But the thing is, I know it's decent. Like, I know it's a decent combo, but I can't stand it. I really just can't stand playing with Yumi. It's just low man. Like, she needs to get out and auto to get mana, and that's fine. But then she kind of leaves you sometimes and ditches you for a very long time, and it's really annoying. And that's kind of why the combo is so good, is you can kite forever, and she can leave, and you'll be fine in lane, but I just don't like the combo at all. It's the extra attack speed isn't great for Ezreal. I also hate the champion, to be honest with you, so I'm slightly biased against this one. Sorry. Zillion. I kind of like Zillion. I think most Zillion players are really, really good. The slow is absolutely bonkers when you're playing Ezreal Zillion. The movement speed's bonkers. The laning phase can be tough depending on the matchup. So he can get kind of shit on during the laning phase, but if you can make it out of the laning phase even, this character is low key kind of broken. This ultimate's amazing. Like, I know it's the 12.10 durability patch, and I understand that. I said that I'm kind of thinking about it over the years, but Zillion's always been kind of a really, really good champ if you know how to play on him. The double bomb plus ult is crazy. He stalls enough for anyone to come by and help you if you're a jungler is nearby or whatnot. And it's kind of hard to catch Ezreal twice when you have a Zillion. You know what I mean? So I kind of like it. I think it's a good combo. Zyra. Where would I put Zyra? Probably the bottom of like it as well. I think Zyra is really good. I think it's really, really cool to play with. Her ult is really nice. She kind of has the same problem as Brand, where she kind of unloads and just dies. But the thing is, like, Zyra has a lot of tools to stall long enough for Ezreal to kill whoever's jumping on whoever. I think Zyra's damage is pretty good. Range is kind of weak. Her missile speed's kind of weak. So the Zyra player needs to be kind of proactive. But as soon as she lands at the E, you just WQ, and keep poking him out. It's not bad of a combo though, to be honest. I think the biggest problems come like mid game where she can get caught out. She does a lot if you get dove. You can't. Zyra is really hard to dive, especially if she has ult. If she has ult, it's insanely hard. If she doesn't, it's not the best, but it's not the worst either. Xerath. Xerath is probably right here. Well, actually, we'll put this a little bit further back. This way. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, Xerath is kind of like Vel'Koz, except he's more reliable, has a higher range. You're never going to engage with Ezreal and Xerath. The biggest problem with the lane is that you're never going to get kills in this lane, really, unless you get them really low with your poke and land all your shots with your ults, but you're never really going to get kills. The whole point of this lane is to make sure that the enemy team is like 40 CS down, because Ezreal and Xerath shooting skill shots at you the whole time is so hard to deal with. So I do really like the lane. I think it's extremely good. Yeah, honestly, I like it a lot. I don't know why. I'll put a love it. I like the lane a lot, honestly, now that I think about it. It's just so much damage, and it's honestly reliable. You get W level 1, and you start poking right away. He gets first strike, so he gets a lot of free gold. And so it is just so hard to dodge skill shots from everyone. Renata. Yeah, it's gonna be near It's I love the champion. I think Renata's really good, but Ezreal Renata is kind of trash. There's not much you can do. You kind of just have to wait. It's a really good disengage. She's a really good disengager. She's really good at disengaging, I guess. She's good at trading kills, but the thing is with Ezreal is that trading kills is kind of hard sometimes, because she doesn't really give much. Like, attack speed on Ezreal level 3 is not great. It's not going to do much for you, but I don't know. Her E is really slow. She can't poke, honestly. She can't poke whatsoever. She can kind of help Ezreal by shielding him during poke or exchanges and stuff, but it's not the best lane. Like I said, I like Renata, but not the biggest fan of Ezreal Renata, so. I love Talia, but I hate Talia support on Ezreal because W is extremely unreliable. This is post patch, so I've played with a couple. It's not very good. Like, you can't help Talia if she gets jumped on, like I said, with a couple of other characters. But this one's really bad. Like, her W is cool and all, and her ult is really cool, but there's not much you can do. They both poke pretty well, but if you hide behind minions, like, neither of them can do anything, to be honest with you. Her W is really slow. Her E is really slow. Yeah, not a big fan of the lane. It's not good. Doesn't play very nice either. Thresh. See, I love Thresh. I think Thresh, Ezreal, is really, really, really good. You get to all in whenever you want. You get to disengage. The biggest thing in solo queue is Thresh W. If you guys understand who escapes first, this Ezreal Thresh is absolutely insane. But the problem is in solo queue, sometimes you E and he throws the lantern where you were, and you kind of die because of that. But other than that, amazing support champion. Just Thresh Ezreal is really, really good. It can be rough. The thing is, it's extremely hard to come back. If Thresh misses his first like 2 Qs, you probably lost lane. Because Ezreal, like, Thresh can take so much harass, and Ezreal just kind of has to watch, especially if it's in a mini wave. So that's not great, or that part's not great, I should say. Taric, let's see. It's kind of hard. Taric, I'm gonna put him at the bottom of like it. I think Taric's really underrated. I know back then he used to be kind of better for Ezreal, to be honest, because he had a point and click stun, and his W used to reduce your armor, reduce the enemy armor if he lands it, which helped Ezreal a lot. Ezreal was really good with armor pen back in the day. He's still pretty good at it now, but back in the day even more so. Nowadays, his ult, it's pretty hard to utilize in a 2v2 lane. His E is still really good. Like, you have to be really coordinated to play Ezreal Taric. I mean, you can both E together, but like I said, it's so hard to pull off in solo queue. So, I like it, but it's not. I'm not excited when I see Taric get picked. I think he's cool, but like I said, eh. All right, last but not least, Tahm Kench. I'm gonna put it at the top of because Ezreal doesn't need someone to just eat them and take them out of the fight. Ezreal kind of needs someone to assist him when he goes in. You know what I mean? So Tahm Kench doesn't really do that. Tahm Kench kind of saves a hyper carry from certain death, and Ezreal kind of like, to play Ezreal properly, you kind of have to be on that razor's edge. You know what I mean? And Tahm Kench doesn't really help Ezreal with that. Like, Janna helps Ezreal with that. Nami helps Ezreal with that. Karma does too. But Tahm Kench doesn't. He's cool to play when the enemy team has a lot of melee, because he's a big guy, so he can stun and do a lot of damage that way. But he doesn't really help Ezreal in team fights, which is kind of like the big thing. So in lane, it's not bad, but there's definitely better ADCs to pick Tahm Kench in, and Tahm Kench probably wouldn't want to play with an Ezreal anyway. So yeah, that kind of concludes my thoughts on all these supports over the years that I've played with. You can probably play any of these supports to decent success with Ezreal, but some are better than others. I really like this top tier right here. It's so amazing to play. Like, if you haven't tried like Braum Ezreal, you probably have, but it's insane. These top two rows are good, really good to play. The middle row is pretty good. Bottom two, This is Hate these for some different reasons, some similar reasons. Anyway, there it is. Thank you so much for watching. Okay.